Hello everyone, it's Thomas here, and I'm here to do my one-take video going over my entire vinyl collection because I was going to do this on Instagram, but now I'm just deciding to make this just one simple YouTube video that I'm just going to upload right after I'm done recording this. So before I get into my collection, I want to start by going over some, kind of like prologue-ish stuff. So here, I'm finally going to highlight the vinyl player that makes it all possible. This belonged to my late Grandpa Doug, a great man who had a great taste in music. And while I don't have a particular year on when this was made and sold, I do have a theory that it was like the mid to late 80s because it has the built-in cassette player along with the turntable, and it does actually still have a working radio that me and my mom figured out how to tune into when we first got it back in February from my grandma. So that part's done. And now for my actual collection, here is how I sort it because I have my own way of sorting it. So this right here is all of the personal artist and band collections. If I have two or more vinyls from one particular artist or band, then I just consider it a collection, and then it goes on this side, which is the left-hand side, and over on the right-hand side, the first half are all just like the one-offs, which are just like, if I have a vinyl from only one band or artist, then it just goes here, and then here at the way back is just where I put all the compilation albums, whether it's best of, greatest hits, anything of the kind, it all just goes there. And now it's time for the real meat and potatoes of all this. So I'm just gonna get this onto the tripod. Hopefully it doesn't turn off because sometimes it just has a hard clamp that gets to the power button on the phone, which I absolutely despise. But, let's see, I'm gonna wonder how I'm gonna point this down. Actually, there we go. I'm just gonna... Alright. Yep, and right there, my collection of movies from the 20th century goes from 1972 with The Godfather all the way up to Run, Lola, Run, which is a great German film from the late 90s. And that's its own can of worms. There's too much history with that shelf. But I'm going to start out with what should be essential to any vinyl collection, and that is all of my Beatles records that I have gotten from my grandparents and from some offhanded secondhand shops from across Pennsylvania and Florida. So, to break it down, we first have Revolver, which is a truly great album and marked a great turning point for the Beatles stylistically. For me, my favorite song off of this one is Got to Get You Into My Life. I just think it's an incredibly charming song, and I personally think this is one of their best album covers. Their art direction from like Revolver all the way up to Let It Be, I thought was just solid through and through. Next, we have, one of the albums of all time, Sgt. Pepper. This one, it's a great one. It's a true classic. I really love it. Now that you get the good 2-page spread of all the boys. And for a favorite track off of this one, it's hard to think of one at the moment. Because it doesn't have a track list on it. Actually, I'm just gonna look at the disc itself. I love the Apple imagery on the vinyls. They were great. I feel like if I were to have a good, like a most favorite song, because it could be Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, but that's a normie take, and I don't like having normie takes, so this is going to be the oddest pick, but it would have to be the Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band reprise, because the instrumentation on that one is just excellent. I'm so sad that the 2008 remasters of all the Beatles catalog just kind of threw all the good sound design away to just make it all sound as normal as possible. So that's why I'm happy that they did a remix of it around the 2010s. And what I have next is a truly interesting find that I got from my grandma, which was Paul and Linda McCartney's Ram album from 1971. And the truly interesting thing about this is that my grandparents might have lost the sleeve over the last few decades, because within Ram is just a full, hopefully it's in focus, a full vinyl of Abbey Road, which still has perfect mixing. It's crazy. And I mean, Abbey Road, do I need to say anything? It's Abbey Road. Of course, it's like one of the greatest albums of the 60s. But for Ram itself, I love this album. I think it is incredibly creative. What Paul was able to create with this album, along with Linda, was just absolutely amazing. Let me go to... I'm trying to remember, because I do have one really good song that I absolutely loved listening to last year, but I just can't think of it at the moment when I'm looking at the track list. I think it probably is Monkberry Moon Delight. It's the one that like goes like Don't Get Left Behind. I found that incredibly catchy when I listened to it for the first time last year, and for this, I got the 1-2 combo of the Red album and the Blue album, the two compilation albums that the Beatles put out, I think, around the early 80s, maybe some point around the 70s. I cannot think of it off the top of my head, but these are great. This I got from my grandparents, but this I picked up just this July at a secondhand record store in PA, because it's sad that like the original track listing for the Blue album now contains the third disc with Now and Then, which Now and Then, it's a great song, but like I want that original experience that all the people who listened to it had all the way back when it first released. Figuring out how I'm going to do this. I guess to close it off, just Past Masters. I like it in terms of compilation albums. I don't think the track list is that strong, but it still has a like decent amount of really good songs on it. And I mean, if you got some money to spend it on this. But it is not an essential you need for any Beatles collection, at least in my opinion. And now, a short but really sweet segment. My two Dylan records, Highway 61 and B&B from his famous Electric era, which I love and I find to be a great natural evolution of his style, where he started in folk music. And honestly, if you want to get into Dylan, start with Highway 61. This album encapsulates everything I love about this man, and this B&B just continues that. And I want to try and Bring It All, I think like the Bring It All Home album, which was his first Electric record right before Highway 61. But yeah, I mean, dude, Bob Dylan's Bob Dylan. He is one of the greatest lyricists ever. His writing is impeccable. The instrumentation, especially during his Electric era, was just incredible. And yeah, it's time to move on to the one collection that inspired me to make this series. Well, not series, this one video is my Doors collection. I absolutely love these guys. I got into their music last August in 2024, and their style is just incredible. Even starting off of their first self-titled album, like Crystal Ship, I love. Soul Kitchen, I love. Break On Through the Other Side, incredible. All of the songs on this first album are just some of the best psychedelic rock you could hear from the late 60s. And Strange Days, perfect sequel album. Absolutely love it. And just recently, an amazing gift from my mom, Waiting for the Sun, their third album from 68 and their only album to get #1 on the charts. To me, I was not crazy about this album when I first got into them, but over this last year, listening to them has really made this album grow on me, and I absolutely love for the vinyl itself is that it has the lyrics to Celebration of the Lizard on it. I absolutely love that, which was not an official track on their albums until Absolutely Live from 1970, which is a amazing live album and is worth buying a double LP for. And then their fifth album, Morrison Hotel. Again, another classic. Absolutely love Roadhouse Blues. Peace Frog, which is my dad's favorite Doors song, which, I mean, not surprising. It's really good. It's been a minute since I have listened to this one in full, but I may or may not respin it again if I get the chance to. I did not get their fourth album, Soft Parade, because even though it has some good songs on it, I overall think it's a kind of mid album, unfortunately. But their sixth and final album with Jim Morrison, LA Woman, I absolutely love. This is another one with so many of my favorite songs from them, like Love Her Madly, great blues track, Car Sits by the Window, like that one's really chill. LA Woman and Riders on the Storm, two stellar 7-minute tracks that do not bore me at all. And and I mean, when it comes to Jim Morrison himself, again, what can I say? He is one of the frontmen of all time. This man was so energetic, and he's especially energetic live on both the second and first live album from them. This, Live She Cried, this was from 83. This was after the breakup, but during the point where they had a resurgence because Coppola used the end in the beginning of Apocalypse Now, which really renewed popularity in their band. And the first one to really capitalize on that was the Greatest Hits album from 1980. Now this is the compilation album you own on vinyl, because the songs they picked and the order they are in on the actual LP track list is just perfect. There's not a perfect order, a more perfect order to listen to all of the Doors' best hit songs. So this, out of all the Doors vinyls that I could recommend to you, it's this one, because this has the highlights, the true highlights of the 6 albums that they released from 67 all the way up to 71. I'm just gonna put this away, and just to get this out of the way while I'm sitting here, is that I actually have a lot more records back at my home in PA that I also got from my grandparents, both from my dad's side and from my mom's side. Like from my dad's side, I know that my grandparents absolutely love the Beach Boys, and they have like a ton of Beach Boys records, including Pet Sounds, Good Vibrations. I may or may not pick them up when I'm back in PA for Christmas in December, but I'm definitely picking up the other huge collection of vinyls. That was probably from my mom's side of the family, which was a lot of Bruce Springsteen records. And I do have plans on watching Deliver Me From Nowhere with Jeremy Allen White this October. And if I really, really do love it, I will find a way to get all of those Springsteen records back to the apartments when I return to Florida, which will probably be in early July next year. Oh my goodness. All right, I'm probably gonna have to do these one at a time. But yeah, and even just beyond those two collections, they're just like, I have an entire mountain of records back in my bedroom in PA that I didn't collect at the time because I didn't think they were worth taking the entire 2 days drive I had with my mom when I first moved down here. But to move on to our next subject, we got the man, the legend, Jimi Hendrix. His live album from his performance at Winterland. I got this from a friend back in high school that I think I traded an Elvis vinyl or some other vinyl. I think it was probably the Blue Hawaii vinyl that I had that I traded with him to get this, but this album is absolutely great. I love it so very much. I genuinely get lost in Jimi Hendrix guitar playing on this because he was just that good. And one that I got during my birthday, my 18th birthday in 2024 was the Best of Jimi Hendrix, Experience Hendrix, and this also another album that just distills all of his best songs into, again, just one extensive 2 LP 2 LP album. And like you have again Purple Haze, you got Fire, Hey Joe, which is a favorite of mine, All Along the Watchtower, which is one of the greatest rock songs from the late 60s in my opinion, Stone Free, JoJo reference. Let's see, Little Wing, love the guitar solo on that, and it even has his cover of Star Spangled Banner that he performed live at Woodstock with, which is just an absolutely incredible listen. These next 4, I'm just gonna blow past real quick because I don't have that much interest in listening to these, but it's interesting to have them, is that I have 2 albums from the one band Heart. From what I hear, they made some really good folk music back in the 70s, but it is not on the top of my list to listen to. And another, psychedelic rock from the 60s, was the Byrds. I do know that Dylan did a cover of Mr. Tambourine Man on, I think, Bring It All Home back in the late 60s, so I may or may not listen to these albums at some point or another, but they're not my top interest. But one that is my top interest and that I do plan on getting into this October is all the Black Sabbath albums that I bought this July. So first, all the way back in August of 2024, I got their first album, brand new copy, and it feels like it because the mix is great. Not only that, just 5 tracks that are all, I don't know, because they're like medleys. But their first album was just short, sweet, and incredible. Ozzy just yelling "Oh God" on the first track, which is the title track. It's just It's great. I find it hilarious because it's Ozzy, but it is like an amazing first album. And that same year, I think also probably sometime around August or maybe even late July, I got Paranoid, their best album, and this is practically falling apart because I know this was probably a vinyl bought and pressed, or pressed and bought when it first came out in I think 71, and it definitely shows. And the one thing I love about probably the previous owner is that this one guy, he really loved Ozzy because every mention of Ozzy, they underlined it. And I find it hilarious. I find it heartwarming, really gives some life to it. And I mean, it's a classic album. What else can I say? Dude, Iron Man slaps. It's just amazing. And these are the albums I bought just this July. Master of Reality, their third album. Sabbath Bloody Sabbath, their 5th album. And Sabotage, their sixth album, and I have no interest in getting Technical Ecstasy and Never Say Die, even though they're the last two with Ozzy, because I've heard they're not really that good. So I'll still probably give them a listen on YouTube when I get to playing these in October, because, you know, spooky month. I would be selling myself short if I didn't play them. And two that I spun when we got the unfortunate news just this July, Blizzard of Oz and Diary of a Madman. Two great albums and just an amazing start to Ozzy's solo career. And to just close this part off of the, you know, kind of review, Ozzy was just an amazing man. He really was. He was a great vocalist. He was an incredibly energetic frontman. The Osbournes are the most hilarious show that I love watching. And I mean, yeah, dude, he has the legacy. Like, he really does. And he really deserves to be well remembered for just everything he brought to music and just entertainment in general throughout his whole lifetime. So, we still miss Ozzy, but hey, he has the greatest legacy to leave behind. And to close off the section of collections, I have all four of the mainline Smiths albums. The only one that's kind of missing from this collection is Louder Than Bombs, which was their last and most extensive compilation album. I may or may not get it. I'll just see how things roll out. But their first album, I absolutely love. Weird thing is that this vinyl pressing, and I don't know if this was for all vinyl pressings, but this vinyl pressing does not have Charming Man, which I just think is generally crazy because it's one of their catchiest songs and one of like their most memorable. But for the songs that are actually on this vinyl pressing that I really love, I Don't Know You Anything and Stuff for Little Children, the last two tracks I find incredibly good. I Don't Know You Anything is, I think, is a really nice, just chill track to like listen to when it's like early morning, you just kind of want to relax, or you're just relaxing in your home. And Stuff for Little Children, it is definitely one of their really downer songs, but with, you know, great chord progressions from Johnny and just a good vocal performance from Morrissey. And I will note, I disagree with all of Morrissey's opinions over these last few years. It's unfortunate, but hey, old British people will be old British people. But this one I do find really good. Like, it was a real good start to their career. The short career of, or the short lifespan of the Smiths. Next, Mean is Murder. The ones I love the most are Well I Wonder. I find is another really good somber track from them, carried by really good chord progression from John Marr, and again, another good vocal performance from Morrissey. I will say I absolutely love That Joke Isn't Funny Anymore, which has an amazing soundscape and is just great to listen to. The Headmaster Ritual, great first track, really good of just kind of like unpacking, you know, like childhood trauma and like some of the horrid things that a lot of probably British children went through during the 60s and 70s. And I mean, Me is Murder is a good track, and I do respect what they tried to do on this album to really, you know, kind of, you know, shine a light on a lot of horrid things that were going on with, you know, the production of animals and what goes into meat. I'll admit, you know, after listening to that album, when I look at a Big Mac, I do feel a bit guilty. Oh god, that is. You know what? I'm gonna keep it. It's dark, but it could be worse. Next, The Queen is Dead, their best album. I love this album for what it is, but it's not my personal favorite. I mean, I still love, you know, the title track. I absolutely love There's a Light That Never Goes Out. I, you know, love The Boy with a Thorn in His Side. Big Mouth, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't really get it. I mean, not that sense. More like I just don't find it that catchy, to me at least. And their last album, it is good, and it definitely does have, you know, a few subliminals that it was going to be their last album, and, you know, to quote Drake, tensions were definitely rising. But, I mean, yeah, the Smiths, they were a very short-lived band, but they really brought a lot to soft rock, and again, it's unfortunate that Morrissey's opinions are the way they are nowadays, but you know what? It's 80s music. Just forget about it. Before we get to our one-offs and compilations, I want to go off of some amazing 7-inch singles that my Grandpa Doug owned. Starting off with 1984 by Van Halen that had Panama on it. Absolutely, again, Van Halen, incredibly catchy song. They will appear again on the list, or not on the list of the vinyls that I'm going through. Another is Photograph by Def Leppard. Again, another true rock classic. I have yet to own any Def Leppard records, although I probably should one day. I definitely need to get Pyromanic. The one album with the wordplay on pyro, because I've heard is their best. Flock of Seagulls, Runaway, another true 80s classic of synth rock. Unfortunate they never really went anywhere. We'll say, yep, Frontiers and Separate Ways by Journey, another absolute classic. And I did pass up the opportunity to get a Journey Greatest Hits at Target a few months ago, but I mean, I love Journey, but they are not my number one pick of rock bands. And to kind of go off of that, we have Dream On by Aerosmith with the B-side Somebody. I like Aerosmith. I definitely think that Steve Tyler and Joe Perry and all of the others associated with Aerosmith at the time really brought something unique to rock, but again, they're unfortunately not my go-to in terms of rock bands, but they do also have a great legacy, and Aerosmith's latest collaboration with Youngblood, I did think was a genuinely decent rock song. Was it perfect? No, but in my opinion, it didn't need to be. But to start off with the one-offs, we have Chicago Transit Union, the first album, a double LP, shocker, from the one everlasting rock group Chicago. I really like this. I just spun this one day last fall, and I had an incredibly good time with it. I cannot name my most favorite track off the top of my head, but it is still an incredibly good and memorable album to listen to. I'm just going to run through this one, the self-titled album from Traffic. I am going to get around to listening to this at some point, but again, it has not really been that big of a priority, so I don't really have much to say on that. Another I don't have much to say on, but I am just going to go through really quick is, In Search of the Lost Chord from Moody Blues. I will say, I do have a bit more interest because, Moody Blues, again, another JoJo reference, but, no one's gonna get this. But I do have a somewhat vested interest in listening to Moody Blues at least some point. One crazy album, well, not really crazy, but one that no one really talks about, and one that really, again, was just another that was in the collection, was Softly by the Sandpipers. I do not know who these people are. To this day, I still don't know because there's so little music from them, but this was a really short but incredibly charming album to listen to, and I mean, yeah, it's definitely quite a surprise, and this album is up on YouTube, and if you do like to listen to a lot of old school music, then I definitely recommend it. But finally, I have an album that I can actually say a lot of things on. In the Court of the Crimson King. I absolutely love this album. It is like the perfect debut album ever. It is only 5 tracks, but it is just, all 5 of those songs are incredible. And the artwork for this album is also just incredible too. I will say my most favorite track for this one is Epitaph. 21st Century Schizoid Man is great, but Epitaph is just this perfect 8-minute song where the way I describe it is you feel like you are listening to the slow but gradual fall of an empire. And when it just like all comes to a head in like the last 2 minutes with like the final segment, it just all comes together and you feel like you're listening to that empire in full collapse. But it is just an amazing album. Again, some of the best psychedelic rock from the late 60s. And to move on to an album I just got a few hours ago, Led Zeppelin 4 are their untitled album from 1971. Now, I've only listened to one track off of this to make sure that the mixing was good because Target can be a little fishy. But Black Dog, I thought was an incredibly catchy and great rock song, and I definitely can't wait to listen to this in full, and I definitely have plans to listen to all of Led Zeppelin's discography because I do find them very interesting, especially after doing some research about their 3 reunion shows afterwards and the fact that the first 2 kind of sucked. But to quickly break those down before we get into Bad Company, which is another incredibly good album, is that like their first was at Live Aid in 85 where they got Phil Collins to do the drums, and even Phil Collins was just like, I didn't know what I was doing. And then their second reunion was in their rock and roll induction in 1995, which also, again, it's not really that great from what I've heard. But their last one was, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction, just to get it right. But their last one was at the O2 Stadium over in Britain in 07, which I heard was actually quite good. But to get to Bad Company, this is another really good rock band, another really good debut rock album, and Rocksteady was good. Let me see, what else? I think The Way I Choose, another great, really just slow, relaxing track. Don't Let Me Down, also great. This is just an incredibly solid rock album from the early 70s, and I'm so happy my one movie store guy, Steve, recommended me this. And now time for Aerosmith to pop up again. Get Your Wings, their second album from 1974. Wow, this album's over 50 years old, and it doesn't sound like that at all because this is a pretty fun rock album. I listened to this just a few months ago, and I gave it a solid 8 out of 10. It is great, showing just a lot of the early potential that Aerosmith had as a band. Again, I think Steve Tyler is an incredibly energetic frontman, and again, while they're not my first pick, they are still an incredibly good rock band, and there's definitely a lot of just great, fun rock songs off of that album. To get into one of the best and most recent picks, Young Americans from Bowie. I absolutely love this album. I listened to this sometime around August. I can't remember the exact day, but this was another truly fun and energetic album. I absolutely love, let me go to the track list. I absolutely love, I think it was Fascination, if I'm remembering correctly. See, I'm going to go to Luther Vandross's credits, even though, again, that kind of spoils the whole point I wanted to make. But I think it was indeed Fascination. I absolutely love it. It's one of Bowie's most interesting tracks because it's him going into more of an R&B style with the help of Luther Vandross, which is a truly incredible mashup that I did not expect on this album. His cover of Across the Universe from the Beatles is also really good. Young Americans, the title track, is also absolutely amazing. Fame is a great closer, which I think is a John Lennon cover, if I remember correctly. And I mean, yeah, and also Someone Up There Likes Me, one of his longer songs that, again, does not bore me at all. It was just an absolute great experience. This is just an incredibly fun album and really shows just the versatility that Bowie had in his career. This one I'm going to go through real quick because I don't have much thoughts on it, and it's not on the top of my listen list, but it is one of John Fogerty's solo albums, Center Field, from I think the from the mid-'80s. I'm definitely going to get around to this at some point. I do love a few Creedence Clearwater songs, but again, they're also not my real go-to for rock bands, but I will get around to this someday. I promise. But, yeah, I just don't have that much to say on it. This one I do. Cleveland 77, a live album from Iggy Pop during the period that David Bowie helped him on keyboards and helped him with a lot of his stuff. I find this, again, also an incredibly energetic live album. This, again, encapsulates what live albums can be at their best, which is, again, are these fun, incredibly energetic just performances that are encapsulated onto a record or onto an album. And I mean, yeah, it's great. I cannot think of any of my favorite tracks off the top of my head because it was early this year that I listened to it, but it was an incredibly fun and energetic album that I definitely want to respin at some point. And let's get to a really, really good pick, and the reappearance of Van Halen, their first album, Van Halen 1. This one, again, also incredible debut album. It has Eruption, which is one of the greatest guitar solos of all time. You know, also rest in peace to Eddie Van Halen. He was an amazing guitarist, even if he was a bit of a control freak. But with this one, my most favorite track has to be Little Dreamer. I love the opening guitar riff. David Lee Roth's vocals on it are just incredible. And, I mean, again, overall, also amazing album cover. I'm sad I've not talked about a lot of the album covers in this video because it is incredibly good, like all across the board with all the bands I have collected vinyls for, because my philosophy is that you can get somebody to listen to your album without listening to a single second of it if your cover is good. Another great one, Rebel Yell by Billy Idol. It is probably his best album, by no shock. I mean, Eyes Without a Face, what else do we need to say? It is one of the greatest 80s songs ever. I absolutely love Blue Highway. I think that one's a little underrated. Flesh for Fantasy, I love the instrumentation on that. And Idol's vocal performance is still strong, but not the best on the album. Crank Call, I find incredibly bizarre, and I will say the last few tracks is what makes this a 9 for me. It was almost close to being perfect, but it's just a 9 for me, and that is my thing with a lot of albums, because I don't like to think the perfect album does exist. But, I mean, as someone who works in editing, especially for music artists, there are imperfections everywhere, but, again, that's what makes it fun, in my opinion. One that I listened to back in August was, Nonstop Erotic Cabaret from Soft Cell, another great one-hit wonder from the 80s, and one of the many bands that I heard on my dad's radio when I sat in the backseat of his car as a kid. Because Tainted Love, it is an amazing song. The rest of this album is pretty fine. It's nothing too memorable, but they definitely did have a really unique style to them, though, from what I did remember listening to it. But, yeah, I mean, it's decent, but, again, it's another album where outside of, me having nothing but praise for Tainted Love, I got really nothing else to say about it. But one I have a lot to say about is The Sports by Huey Lewis, and no, it's not an American Psycho reference, you dopamine-depleted Zoomers. This one, another just absolutely amazing album. Heart and Soul, one of my favorite Huey Lewis songs of all time. It is catchy. It is great. It is just so energetic, and I love it so much. Let me see. If This Is It, great song. Have shockingly heard it at a Publix and I think McDonald's that's on our college campus. So, I mean, happy to see this album still has respect and radio play, even 40 years afterwards. I mean, outside of those two tracks, there's nothing else I really need to say about it. I will say the album art is absolutely great. I love it. It is, again, another album that I absolutely love and respect. And we're getting to the final two of the one-offs. But in our penultimate one-off album, Straight Outta Compton by NWA, one of the greatest old-time rap or old-school rap albums out there. I definitely love Biggie, I love Pac, but both of those artists would not have been where they were in the 90s without NWA. Like, this is the blueprint for modern rap, in my opinion. Like, what Ice Cube, Eazy-E, Dre, MC Ren, MC Yella. Actually, let me see if it was MC Yella. Personnel. We'll say I'm not seeing it on the back for Personnel, but like what those 5 dudes did back in the late 80s, like, again, it is just the blueprint for modern rap, in my opinion. And this album is absolutely great. Straight Outta Compton, strong opening track. Dude, Fuck the Police. Again, literally like one of the rap classics. And even the rest of the tracks on this, you know, like Gangsta Gangsta, If It Ain't Rough, and even Parental Discretion Advised. Especially Express Yourself. Love Dre's production on that. Really showed a lot of his up-and-coming talents. Even Dope Man. Absolutely love Dope Man, especially when I listen to it in the Straight Outta Compton movie, which is excellent. I have seen the extended cut that is like 2 hours and 40 minutes. But, I mean, yeah, this is the rap album of all time. When it comes to owning their vinyls, I do want to possibly get their Greatest Hits album from 96, because that one also has a lot of great songs on its track list. But, I mean, if I got the time and the money, then I'll definitely get it if I can. And the last honor one-offs is Nirvana's MTV Unplugged performance. I have said this in an Instagram story, but this, to me, is my biggest inspiration for how I edit live music performances, because that is part of my job. Like, getting to just hear the banter between Kurt, Chris, and Dave is just incredible. Getting to hear these songs with live instrumentation, the best one for me was was Dumb. Getting to hear Dumb with just, again, live instrumentation was just absolutely incredible. I mean, Man Who Sold the World, one of the greatest covers ever, and love the comment that Kurt started the album off with when he was about to perform About a Girl, is that, yeah, this song is from our first album. Most of you don't own it. I absolutely love this album. It is perfect, and it is just, also, rest in peace to Kurt Cobain. Just a true creative mind who just had raw creativity at all times, and it's just unfortunate what happened to him. Take care of your mental health. I made sure to take care of mine this month. But on to the compilation albums. To start it off, Big Hits, High Tide and Green Grass from the Rolling Stones, which is a compilation album of a lot of their greatest hits from the 60s, although I will say it is the US release, so Painted Black is not on here, which I do honestly think is to the album's detriment, because Painted Black is truly not only one of their most popular, but like really one of their greatest songs in terms of, again, you know, vocal performance, instrumentation. But this was still an amazing listen. Another album that I got from probably Grandpa Doug. Again, he truly had excellent music taste. But to move on to the next one, another one that I got from the same friend in high school was the compilation album from Bob Marley. Yep, the legend Best of. This one, I will say, reggae is not, my go-to genre. My top 5 genres, just to get them out of the way here, is rock, rap, R&B, metal, and pop. I'll possibly get into that further on another Instagram story, but reggae, whenever it's on the radio, or if I got this album playing, I ain't gonna turn it off. I love reggae. It is, while it's not like in my top 5, it's still an incredibly good album. So I will say, yep, Jammin', absolute classic in my book. Let's see. I think, oh yeah, there we go. I found it. Yep. Could You Be Loved? Another just absolutely amazing song. One of Marley's best, a song that always puts a smile on my face, and to me it's just a timeless classic. And a lot of Marley's work was just absolutely timeless. Like that's just the sad thing that like a lot of music now these days just don't have a lot of like timelessness. And I guess to me you could kind of chalk it up that timelessness did last, and a lot of the stuff that was good just for the time back in the like 70s, 80s, and 90s got forgotten and left in that decade. But one person who was not forgotten at all is Prince. The hits 1 and 2, the 1-2 combo compilation series from 1993, which really has all the best songs from Prince's career, from all the way from For You all the way up to the Love Symbol album, which was from 79 all the way up to I think 92 or 93. I would need to check it again, but these two, they're incredibly great. I listened to these two on YouTube all the time before I actually found both of them at an FYE in PA this July, and I just knew I had to get it on the spot, and I thank my mom so much for helping me pay for them. But these two albums, they're just incredible, and I definitely can't wait to really sit down and give them all a proper spin at some point. And this one, my dad got me last June, The Police Greatest Hits. Spirits in the Material World, probably my most favorite song, just to get out of the way. Also Sting, amazing frontman. Also love the other spread as well, just all the guys. It's great. The track list is good. I'll admit, when it comes to like Every Step You Take, Roxanne, a lot of their songs are good, but again, also The Police, they're not my number one choice for rock bands. I feel like probably for rock, my top calls probably would be like The Doors, would be Jimi Hendrix, probably would be Black Sabbath, but they're more on the metal side. And, man, I actually have to think about it a bit more. But two albums that I got right around the time I first moved down here is the Queen's Greatest Hits 1 and 2 that I both got from Target, so they have like the cool vinyl designs on the inside. And again, these are great. Queen, what can I say? They're one of the greatest pop rock bands of the 20th century. And I mean, yeah, all of these are a hit. And I will say, this one did introduce me to a lot of their later era hits that I actually did not listen to until listening to it. Like, Kinda Magic, Radio Gaga. Let me look through a lot of it. Ooh, Who Wants to Live Forever? That one goes incredibly hard. Let me see. I would have to respin it, but like this one, the hits, like the Greatest Hits 2, like this one is more than worth it. There are so many great hits on this one. And for the first one, this is like essential for your vinyl collection, because like this literally has like the number one hits, the first thing you think of Queen. Like Killer Queen, Bohemian Rhapsody, Another One Bites the Dust, Bicycle Race, Don't Stop Me Now. Even the Flash Gordon theme they did, which is hilarious, and I love it. Let me see. This next one, I also might listen this month since it is spooky season. The Cure, Greatest Hits. This, my dad got me this one for Christmas last year. This one, it does have a Forest from 17 Seconds, which is my most favorite Cure album. But I will say I do not have many opinions yet on this because, again, outside of 17 Seconds, Love Song, just Love Song. Actually, Love Song's on here. I don't have much opinions on Cure yet. They are a great band. Their latest album was really, really good, especially for, a band of their age. And, I mean, yeah. If I do listen to it, I definitely will provide my thoughts on my Instagram. And this one, the next one, I just randomly picked this up at Target one day. The Guns N' Roses greatest hits. Now I absolutely love these guys. Even though their discography is so irregular, only having, like, in all honesty, 5 studio albums with 4 of them having, the personnel you want to have on there, and the 4 out of those 5 essentially being a glorified in-joke. But the greatest hits, and especially this is the Target variation, which is honestly my preferred version because it slims down the greatest hits track list to the true best of the best. All the songs from Appetite for Destruction, like Welcome to the Jungle, Sweet Child of Mine, and Paradise City, again, literally hard rock classics. We'll say absolutely love November Rain. It totally warrants its length. I absolutely love that song. Don't Cry, decent song off of the Use Your Illusion era, even though I kind of think that album suffers from being way, way too long. And Patience, it's great off of their the GNR Lies album, but that one is my least favorite because, Axl says the N-word. They have all, in recent time, have kind of realized, yeah, we shouldn't have done that. But this one, the first album that I actually got, I think I asked my Aunt Kel or probably my mom for this one. And again, this was one of the first albums that I was not a part of what I inherited from my grandparents. So it was Total, the duo compilation album of Joy Division and New Order. I absolutely love this album. I feel happy that this was one of the first vinyls that I ever spun on the record player. I will say, like, all of Joy Division's songs on this one, like Love Will Tear Us Apart, Isolation, especially Atmosphere, they are incredible, and I love Atmosphere. It is such a somber but incredibly bittersweet song. And also, rest in peace to Ian Curtis. He was another creative mind who left us too soon. But for the New Order side, absolutely love Ceremony. I find it to be like another just fun, well, I guess fun would not be the way to say it, but like a good, just like real slow, somber song. I absolutely love Bizarre Love Triangle. Like, Peter Hook's guitar or bass work on that was just absolutely incredible, especially near the end. And I mean, I don't have much for the rest of the second LP on this double LP because, I mean, a lot of their later stuff for New Order, it's good, but it's not the first thing that comes to my mind. And for the last one, and this one I just got last month, the greatest hits to Grateful Dead, which just came out this June. This is another one I absolutely love. Just this August, I listened to all 13 studio albums for Grateful Dead, and they were just an amazing band to listen to. Again, rest in peace to Jerry Garcia. He was another incredible creative mind who should have been here longer. I guess just don't do drugs, kids. But the track list on this one is absolutely incredible. Casey Jones, one of the best songs off of Working Man's Dead, which was their fourth album, and when they really started to pick up their music stylistically. And Friend of the Devil, Box of Rain, Sugar Magnolia, and Trucking, all absolutely amazing songs off of their fifth album, American Beauty, which is, I think, their best album, really, like, instills what I love the most of them. Side B is a pretty decent collection of a lot of their later hits. Touch of Grey is good, but In the Dark is kind of one of my least favorite albums because it's their least, I guess, satisfying to listen to. Because they're still ambitious on it, but, like, it was clear, it was the late 80s, and they were just kind of running out of things to do. But Estimated Profit, I absolutely love. The best song off of A Therapin Station. Fire in the Mountain, pretty decent song off of Shakedown Street, and I'm not gonna list that, but it's from the Mars Hotel, which is a really good one. It's not my most favorite of theirs, but it still was a pretty decent song. And I guess to wrap it up, just to talk about the album art, because again, I do want to talk more about it. The cover for this one is good. Really, the Grateful Dead have never skipped out on their art direction. Their art direction, even after their disbandment, has always been absolutely incredible. The Cover to Dead set, their live album from 1981, is a painting in my eyes. Same for Nightfall of Diamonds in 2001. I guess I already talked about The Beatles, their art direction was incredible in the latter half of their career. I absolutely loved the art design for the Doors, but there's not really too much I want to say on that. But, you know, to continue my spouts of saying rest in peace to Val Kilmer. He was absolutely perfect as Jim Morrison in the Doors biopic from 1991. And also rest in peace to Jim Morrison, also an incredibly, just, again, creative mind. Let me see. I will say the art design for pretty much most of Black Sabbath was great, especially 13, their last album. Let me see. The Smiths, I'm not too crazy about their art direction, to be honest. Talked about King Crimson. There we go. The last one I really want to bring up. I forgot to mention it, but the album cover for Led Zeppelin 4 is absolutely incredible, and especially if you do get the vinyl. Like what do I need to say about this? This looks incredible. This is just amazing. I definitely can't wait to spin it in full. But I mean, pretty much that is my current vinyl collection that I have here in Florida. I may or may not do an update in 2026, but that is my collection. I am incredibly proud of it, and I'm definitely happy to put this video up on my YouTube. So that is it for me. Bye.